Welcome everyone to the Parallax EduChat. This is the first time we are doing this kind of meeting, open talk with educators. We will have some items from Parallax staff, maybe showcase one of the teachers that use our curriculum and materials. And we will end the recording in the presentation part. And after that, we will be open for questions and support and suggestions and feedback. So I have some items. If you are going to any conferences this summer, is probably we will meet at some point and you can stop by and say hi at our Parallax booth. We are going to be all over the place, just in June, for example. In some events, we are going to have the big robot that we started last year. Is a cyberbot that is 5 times bigger. Is a scale, exact scale replica driven by a microbit, actually. And so you get to drive it. If you stop and say hi, you will get to drive it. If you want to see which events we are attending this year, you can always go to our website. You can navigate to this page. You can copy the, use this URL or go to our website and get to events page. Some information is very hard for us to make any changes during the year because teachers want our resources to be very steady. You probably have some PowerPoint and links to our website. So we try to prevent making changes to what you have. But at this point, we have to do a website migration for our curriculum website, learn.parallax.com. So we are targeting to start that migration. Is going to be not visible for you. So you will see the website staying as usual, but we want to end the migration by the end of summer. So when you come by next term, we will have a new website, hopefully a more stable, a new platform. We are trying to maintain all the original links, the URL for the links. So if you have a PowerPoint, you have material that you have developed, the links should continue working. That's our target as far as we can. So the idea is we will change by the end of the summer. So you have time when you get back into classes, before you get into classes, after the summer, you can check the website and see that everything is there for you. Also, over the summer, we'll be trying to do our updates on Microbit Python editor from version 2 to 3. Also, for the same reason, we try not to change things on you at the middle of a school term. So we'll try to do by the end of the summer, be done with those updates. As you know, we have thousands of pages that we did with the Microbit editor version 2. And we are updating everything to version 3. We also found some issues sometimes that when we put a program that is fine in version 3, it will flag syntax errors, even though there are none. So we are working with the Microbit Foundation as we do the migration of our curriculum to see reporting any bugs and trying to get that sorted out and corrected. Now, to talk a little bit at your own pace, workshops, we have been implementing this for a while. As you know, we have our workshops for different platforms and like the Microbit or Arduino, and we record all those Zoom events and we post them in YouTube. So actually, those recordings and slides are available to you to do at your own pace. But we have been doing this for a while, so some of the older courses were getting lost in the list of past events. So Andy can talk a little bit more about this. Probably I need to stop sharing, Andy. Goes to you.
Alrighty, so here we go. Let's see here. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
So let me see. What about now? You should be able.
Okay, let me try again. Yes. All right, so can you see hopefully, can you see the Parallax website? Okay, very good. All right, so to get to basically, if you select community and then go to events, that's where the familiar list that was visible in an earlier slide that Ari had up is visible. So we can see all our upcoming events and trainings here. Now, you can also go to past events, and in that you will find most recently a cybersecurity workshop and a Cyberbot workshop and a microbit for beginners workshop. And then you can continue to page down. Oh, I should show you though. All right, so let's take the Cyberbot workshop, for example. If you follow that link, so all I did was I selected community events, takes us to future events. I clicked the past events tab and then scrolled down and found in this case, the Cyberbot robot with Python and the microbit, and selected view event. Now, once I've done that, what you can do is, no, I hit the wrong button on my mouse. Sorry about that. Past events. Cyberbot. So here we have the event, and you can actually view the YouTube recordings of each of the events. So here we are at the very beginning of day 1 of the Cyberbot workshop. And you can follow it through, and when you have it expanded to full screen, you'll be able to also see every web link. And very early in the slideshow, we also show you where to go and find the slides. And the slides also have links to most of the items that are demonstrated during the workshop. The slides are also typically at the bottom, though I picked not the best example here. So I'm going to go and show you microbit for beginners instead.
And we also have the link to the slides in the same YouTube video. So in the description of the YouTube video, you have the link to the slides.
Thanks for mentioning that, Ari. Yeah, so down here, there's, if you select more, then you will see a link to the slideshow. And so you can open it up directly from here. And so this will be very good for self-paced learning for any teachers who either are unable to attend a workshop due to time conflicts, or want to potentially do a little bit at a time as opposed to 3 2-hour chunks in 1 week. Another way to search for workshops. So I want to emphasize, once you open a workshop page, it'll take you to the YouTube recordings, and then the YouTube recording has the Google Slides. And then those slides are pretty much chock full of helpful links to follow. So it'll show, for example, this is a review of the homework for that participants did before the workshop started, and you can follow each link and actually repeat the homework assignment that they did. Another tip for finding workshops, this one is by Stephanie, is you can go to www.parallax.com. And in the search, there's actually a little drop-down selection you can use to ask for a certain type of page. And one of the categories is event page. And once you select event page, You can see all of our educational events by searching for either bit, bot, or electronics. So if we search for bit, that will take us to all the microbit events that have happened recently. So we have microbit for beginners. And then earlier on, it looks like we've got what's a microcontroller with the microbit and cybersecurity with the microbit. And keep an eye on the date, try to pick the most recent one. And let's see here, I'm going to paste this in to the chat so you can have that for reference as an example. If you search for bot, remember bit, bot, or electronics. So now here we have the 3 most recent Cyberbot workshops, Cyberbot robot workshops, 4 most recent. Then we also have an Arduino ShieldBot workshop, two Arduino ShieldBot workshops, pardon me. Oh, nope, 3. And as we continue down, I'm going to have to see if I can look and find the activity bot. I thought I saw it in here when I was getting this ready, so I was mistaken. Let's try activity bot. Okay, so you can search for activity bot specifically to find the recorded activity bot workshop we have. Okay, back to the bit, bot, and electronics. Remember, bot will get you the majority of the robotics workshops, those being the Cyberbot and the ShieldBot for Arduino workshops. Then electronics is the last category, and that will get you to electronics with Python and the Microbit 3-session educator workshop. And again, these workshops, when you follow the link, you will see links to the video up top and workshop slides down below. And if you don't see the workshop slides down below, you can also find the workshop slides with a link right below the YouTube video right here. The other item I wanted to show you is unrelated to, well, it's partially related to it. I wanted to show you a few extra things that we have on slides for navigation that will probably make it into our web tutorials as we go. So here is an example from the navigation web tutorial page. We have a picture of the Cyberbot with the directions forward, backward, left, and right turn. And that's well and good. This is also from the web pages, but this is new right here. You can use this slide, and I'll paste a direct link to it into the chat. You can use this slide to help students understand how to set the wheel rotation speed and directions and the pin that the signal goes to. So if, for example, the servo is connected to the P18 port, you put 18 in here, so there's baud of 18, and then servo speed, the velocity argument of 65 would fall somewhere in the counterclockwise speed range right about here in the slow to fast speed range. And you can talk about what velocities typically make it stop, and then how you have linear speed control, approximately between 15 and -1, or -15 and -115 for clockwise, or 15 and 115 for counterclockwise. Anything outside of that range is considered overdrive because you're asking more from the servo than it can give you.
By the way, if you are watching this in YouTube, we will have those links pasted in the chat, in the text description below. So you will have access to those links that Andy is talking about.
Very good. And then another addition is a little navigation wheel speed diagram. So this is in the context of, given the fact that one wheel has to turn clockwise to go forward and the other wheel has to turn counterclockwise, this puts that together into how to get a particular speed. Like if you want to go roughly half speed forward, you might use plus 65 on the left wheel and negative 65 on the right wheel. And then it's color coded so that the right wheel, which is connected to P19, so your negative 65 would go here, and your positive 65, the blue, would go up here. So hopefully your students will find those kind of things helpful. And then a few slides later, there's also some nice additional things you can use, like how to go forward and make a turn, and then how to tune that. Additionally, tuning directions. This is probably the most common question I receive for the Cyberbot is, hey, my student Cyberbots do a little curve instead of going straight forward. Is there a way to correct that? We already centered the servos and everything should be fine. And the answer is, yeah, you can still improve the matching of the wheel speeds by a trial and error process where you'll say, okay, well, if I use the same numbers, maybe it curved to the right. Okay, so I changed one of the numbers, made it drastically lower, it curved to the left. And then I went halfway, and lo and behold, on the third try, everything's great. And this will help explain that to the students so that there's a little bit less confusion about that once they first start navigation with their Cyberbot robot. And that's all I have to show you today. Actually, before I pass the screen over, are there any questions? Okie dokie.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When you talked earlier about removing version 2 to put version 3 of the microbit Python editor, are you totally removing these web pages? Are you archiving them, or are you keeping the option of choosing version 2 or version 3? Because I know that depending on what I do, when I have more advanced students, I like to make them work in version 2, not in version 3, so that they really have to work on their syntax, on their punctuation, on their capitalization, and really work on troubleshooting and finding errors. So I was kind of curious.
Let me reply to that. Sorry, I don't have my camera on. But
That's
what
okay.
I'm doing is I'm not replacing the page or archiving it. I'm merely updating the content that is on the page to version 3. If you're going to have your students continue to work in version 2, that would be an option. But since we cannot guarantee that version 2 is going to continue to be made available at the same links, we need to bring the content up to date. And we did not want to replace the pages because that would break the URL links that teachers have made to those pages for those lessons. So I think you're the first person I've heard who is intentionally using version 2 with your advanced students. So that's a good idea.
I have a tip about that. If you go to learn.parallax.com and you are in, say, a cybersecurity workshop where you're wanting to hold on to, say, this Python editor V2 based chapter on getting started, what you can do is scroll to the bottom, click printer friendly version, and then you will have that entire chapter that you can make a PDF out of, put it on your network, and have the students get it from there.
True. That's perfect. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just about to say it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. But if you say perfect, I'll take it.
I not noticed the printer version at the bottom, so.
Neither had I. That's another one that Stephanie gave me.
As Andy was saying that, I actually was doing it on the screen. So this is a printer friendly option of one of the modules, for example. And it was from here at the bottom of the page, like Andy said.
Yeah, that's practical depending on what we do. It's like the old version are not always bad. I understand why they improve it, but there are some advantages. I like and dislike the autocorrect, the suggestions, because in the same way, they're not trying to memorize. They're not trying to to find the information and use it directly. They're like using the suggestion. They're not thinking throughly the same way. There's not the same recall. So I prefer for the more advanced one to use a version 2 than 3. And the same thing with the microbit. I still have some version 1 that I hold tightly that they're not allowed to take because the version 1 have limited memory compared to the version 2. And so for the more advanced students, I have them do more complex program on the version 1. Because of that, they have to work with the limited memory. So they have to learn to optimize their codes. So that's another challenge to give to them. And they get really frustrated with that, but that's a very important skill to learn.
So what I have up here is something that might help a little bit. I don't know. So right now, one of the things that you're saying you're trying to keep the students away from a bit is the autofill.
Yes.
And so they can just select from a list now. One thing you might be able to do is hit the gear in the bottom left, select settings. And this parameter help, I think, is essentially it defaults to automatic, but you can set it to manual, and then at least it makes that part go away. I don't know, it doesn't. I don't know why it
We can reserve that one maybe for the next one, like
Yeah,
how to
sounds
make
good.
it more V2 but still running V3.
I think that would be a great suggestion to microbit to be able to turn off the autofill or the suggestions so that the students have the opportunity to really create the code fully instead of using the suggestions.
Yeah, it really makes it, even the troubleshooting is much easier in V3 because it will flag you where the error is. So it's much easier to find. I wanted to mention one more thing that we were talking about, the on-demand workshops that we will be, as you saw, we had to search for them or go to the past events to get them. And some of them are you really have to dig deeper to get to them. So now we are adding them in the front. Stephanie just added this one. So they will be more prominent. You will see the on-demand workshop like at your own pace here at the front of the events. That doesn't mean the event is going to happen. This is one of the recordings, but it's going to be much easier to find. They will be here in the front page.
Did you click through to that?
Sure. So this one, view event.
Yes. I wanted to point out that even though it is using the recordings, there still is an opportunity to apply for and receive the hardware needed for the course for qualified educators. There's also the opportunity to get support via scheduling a Zoom meeting, and also to receive a certificate at the end. Request a Zoom meeting with Ari and show them that you've done the final activity in the workshop, and you can get a certificate for the professional development hours.
So I'm assuming you click the on-demand workshop application in order to get the hardware.
To apply, yes, there are conditions. It needs to be a teacher in the United States who's teaching a related subject.
To apply for the hardware.
Yes, and yes, anyone is welcome to use the videos and the presentation slides at any time. But
and a teacher that already has the hardware, they can also apply so they can get the certificate.
yes.
And if they have the hardware, it's very, very likely they will be approved. Is when we need to ship hardware that we have a certain budget that we are allowed to use to pay for that hardware. So that's a little more limited. Thank you, Stephanie, for that.
Thank you.
And so we are back here at the on-demand at your own pace. And so now I would like to introduce Sylvie and pass the microphone and the screen to Sylvie. We can showcase a teacher, maybe one or two teachers in future events, and Sylvie I wouldn't say volunteer. We volunteer Sylvie to be the first teacher, talking about how the how they use Parallax curriculum, and she loves to do this. She goes around in conferences and presents about this. So I will stop sharing. So you have you on the screen, right, Sylvie?
Yes, please.
There
Thank you. So actually, in the picture that you showed, they are part of the students who are there, or the attendees are teaching microbit and cyberbot, so Python programming and cybersecurity right now with our cadets and yeah, with our summer encampment. But I'm gonna start. Whoops, sorry. Phil. Shh.
And we
I'm
are
sorry,
live.
that's my
We are
dogs.
live, just in case you were wondering. This is going
I
to
know,
live.
I'm so sorry. This is what happened when you have puppies. So I'm Sylvie Kasmarsik. I am a volunteer with the Civil Air Patrol, and Civil Air Patrol is an auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. But when we activate it for a mission, such as a search and rescue mission or natural disaster relief or things like that, on the side we are a non-profit organization where we train our members, but we also have a whole cadet program for cadet 12 years old and older, where we work on leadership skills, character development, physical training, aerospace, STEM, and cyber education. And that's where I come in. I come in as an aerospace and cyber education officer. I work at multi-level. I work at the state level in Washington Wing, but I'm also, I'm sorry? Can you see the screen? My screen?
Not
This
right now. It's back, yes.
Okay. So, sorry, I heard talking, so I was wondering. Sorry. I work mostly within Washington Wing, but I also have some duties at the region and the national level where I help other states and other units learn about different ways of doing cyber education. For us, cyber education is computer science and engineering and cybersecurity. And the little logo that you have on the right, the Green Donor Cyber Education, is the program we have in Washington Wing. And in the summer, we have a 9-day camp where we actually will get a bunch of cadets together. We have a couple dozen cadets that come in as students. We have another couple dozen cadets, then adults coming in to work with them and doing training. So we are 9 days nonstop, 8 hours a day of education. It's always just classroom. We do also field trips, which makes it very entertaining. Like we go to Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Boeing, the Air National Guard. This summer, we're going to the FBI, so we're pretty excited. So there's a few things like that. Here we have us in action in the classroom. This is myself and my son, Adrien. As you can see, this was, we were using version 2 on this one, and the cadets start with the microbit. Then, depending on what we do, we're gonna transition into the cyberbots. And we have, our cadets are usually 12 to 18 years old in this classroom, and they come from all over the United States, but primarily from the Pacific region. You see them in action. They work on it even when we're not in class doing that. This one was working on his own project on his free time. The following year, you notice the version 3 being in use. We show them, we guide them on how to find what they need. We don't just do, oh, we're going to teach you, give you a lecture, what is a variable, blah, blah, blah. We do some of that, but we do lots of hands-on, lot of project-based learning. So we're more looking at skills and where to find the resources. And you can see we have a wide range of cadets, and they're really enjoying the microbits. So these are the picture that I had, and that I can stop the the sharing. The big thing that we do is we try to do programming alone at first, but that was not a turn on for everybody, especially when we have young cadets. We noticed that by introducing the hardware, especially just simple little things such as a microbit that was very affordable, they got really excited. The fact that the microbit was giving them feedback right away with you have the 25 LED matrix display. You can have messages go through. You can make your own drawing. There's like such a wide range of things. So we have them, for example, write their name, where some are from other origins and their alphabet is not the same. Where they started drawing their own alphabet using the microbit and they got so excited. So that give even like the cultural side. It's not just computer science, it's also you yourself, who you are. They enjoy sending messages to each other. And then when they were doing the radio studies, they started to listen into each other's channels. And then we discussed, well, how about you don't want people to listen to you? Well, we can jam the airways. Well, if you jam the airways, nobody is going to be able to listen at all or to transmit. So they learned to use, for example, the Caesar cipher to encrypt their messages so people could not understand. Then we talked about other ways of protecting your messages, because even if it's encrypted, we can do a brute force attack and then we can know what their message is, especially if they're using something as simple as a Caesar cipher. So we talked about, groups using different channels, about putting IDs and password and all that. So we have even the application of cybersecurity, which is a big deal for us. And that's a big mission that we have from the Air Force and the government, where they want to push the STEM, they want to push the cyber education, but they also want to push cybersecurity. So when we go into the cyberbots, we also combine electronics and some of the engineering side. But we also still do cybersecurity. I remember at one of the workshop when I was with Andy, I took over somebody's cyberbot from behind me during the session. So I do that sometime with the cadets, where I steal the the cyberbot, and they get like, who said it's going away? What's happening? It's like, well, that's okay. It's me. I took it. So now how can you protect it from me? So because of our connection with the Air Force, we have a strong limitation. We are blue team only. That means defenders. No offense, I cannot teach them to do brute force attack, but I can teach them how to protect their equipment. So we will teach them how to write more secure code, how to protect their environment. And this is so easy to teach that with a microbit or a cyberbot. And it's makes it more real for them because it's hands-on. They're holding the thing in their hand. It's not just over network, all these electronic, these 0 and 1s transferring. It becomes something real they have in their hand. They see their robots running away from them. They have to fix that. How can they fix that? So it makes a huge, huge difference. Our cadets love it. They love doing that. They asked to, at first, before the editor with the simulator, the version 3, they were asking to borrow the microbit so that they can continue to program at home, then test it, then bring it back and showing us what they were doing. Now they have the simulator, so they go on their own. Then when they come back the following time, they show us what they did. They show us the program and put it in action. So it's been really good. A lot more are into the Python programming and learning skills that they're able to apply to other type of programming. They go into Java and other languages, and the skills that they learn are the same, even if the language is different. The type of skills like troubleshooting, how do you figure out when there's a problem, the type of errors that you have and all that. I like the fact that we still have access to some old microbit. because it is something we want to teach, how to optimize your code. We do, you can do a mini competition. How fast can you get that done? And so that's always a way to do it. But yeah, so we do a wide range of things. We have, every year, we have, coming from all over the US, we have at least 100 different cadets that are participating in this program. We share our training with other cyber education officers within the Civil Air Patrol or associated teachers. We have teachers associated with the Civil Air Patrol. And so while we do workshop, we invite them, or they can come and observe in our classrooms what we do and ask questions. So I do conferences also within the Civil Air Patrol where I share our resources and how we do things. I regularly get email from some of my colleagues throughout the nation, and they ask me, how do you do that? Because they know I have lots of resources. So I give them our internal resources, then I give them suggestions, and such as, well, the big one I say is like between Parallax and cyber.org. This has been a huge help in making it more age appropriate, because you have a lot of work, but it's really within the age range that we're working with. And the other thing is, the work is all done. You just have to go and apply it in the classroom. So it's really very well prepared for us and ready to be used, which make it very nice. And it's hands-on. And that's the big thing. A lot of the computer classes that we see, it's programming, but it's not hands-on. Or when it is, it's with something such as Raspberry Pi, which is great. I like Raspberry Pi also, but it's expensive. And I know a lot of my 12, 13-year-old programmers, the parents don't want to buy that. But when they say, oh, it's a microbit, it's $20, they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I get you that. And so it makes it more affordable and more likely for them to continue and try things. And a lot of them, they come back and the parents, yeah, they ordered 3 of them because they were 2 siblings and they wanted the third one for one of their friends, and they're like talking to each other and doing different things. So they really get into it. They get hooked. But anyway, so that's our experience on that side, and we're really excited about it. Thank you. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Sylvia. And we are still in the recorded section. So if you want any recorded question, or we can terminate the video and then we are open for full-on support questions. Any questions for Sylvie?
Yeah, I do have a question. The microbit, when I looked at its graphical programming under make code, it was very limited. So the question comes back, maybe Stephanie or somebody can talk about Blockly, and is there any chance we'll get your Blockly libraries that you guys have developed available for the microbit?
Well, I'm not supposed to talk about that, but so at this time, there's some block programming for the Cyberbot. Work is about, I would say, 80% complete. And we
Okay.
are trying to get that finished. And so to use that block programming on the Cyberbot. And we will also need to generate some curriculum, because up to now, from Parallax, for the microbit, we only use Python. But we are working behind the scenes on block programming for the Cyberbot on the microbit. And that's also part of the change we are doing in the website. So that content will be added to the Learn website once we do the migration to the new hosting system. So it's all part of a plan. Things are moving. Our target is to have that content by the end of the year. That's our hope.
Yeah, that'll be wonderful, because like I say, the make code was very limited and was not functional for the engineering work I wanted to do.
And probably we should have said that after the recording, because now it's going to be YouTube. But okay, any more questions for Sylvie, or we end the recording and go into open discussion?
I just want to add, Sylvia, great presentation. One thing I did was I pasted in the previous workshops. Sylvia mentioned some of the cybersecurity activities that their students were doing, taking over somebody else's cyberbot that they're remote controlling, for example. And all of those kind of examples are discussed in, well, it starts in the microbit for beginners, and then we really dive into that in the cybersecurity, and I'll also paste in just the cyberbot workshop, although I think we had that in the slides. So just adding that on as for your reference in the chat.
And the other thing that I wanted to add on, an activity the cadets really enjoyed is with the Civil Air Patrol. We do a lot with aviation. We train them to fly. For example, my son was flying before he even learned to drive, which is really cool. We do the search and rescue and all that, and we use ELT, the electronic locator transmitters. So like if an airplane crash, it has an ELT on it, so it will beep like a beacon. And then for us, we have equipment to detect the beacon and locate the aircraft. They did that with a microbit, using the sensors to be able with proximity, and they hid one microbit in the building, and the others have the detector program that they put on it, and they have to find the hidden microbit.
That's
The
really
same
neat. I
way-
take it they're doing that with signal strength.
Yeah, so and actually it really gave them, they had the graphic and the beeping sound at the same time. They adapted some of the code that was in there, but that was great because they found an application direct to our environment with Civil Air Patrol using something that, some properties of the equipment. So they really enjoy doing things like that.
Right.
We can't hear you, Harry, if you're talking.
Thank you. I was saying that. Thank you for that. And with that, we'll end the recorded section of the this EduChat, and then we go into open discussion.